Hey guys, this is Thomas over here at nursemoneytalk.com, and in this video what I want to do is I really want to talk about some self-care tips for nurses that will hopefully then keep you from getting burned out. Because the thing about nursing, and especially if you're watching this and if you are a new nurse, because I know so many seasoned nurses will know this already, is that it's very demanding, and whether it's administration or just the overall culture or environment itself, it will force you to potentially push yourself and do things that might not necessarily be kind of like in your own benefit. Before I get into that, if you're not subscribed, I want to go ahead and invite you to hit that subscribe button on this channel. I talk about all things related to nursing student, and of course, nurse life. So let's go ahead and get started. Guys, make sure that you are working out. Make sure you're finding time to work out, stay in shape, whatever working out to you means, because there's a lot of benefit, which this goes without saying, that is associated with just remaining a keeping it like a relatively active lifestyle. Now, on top of that, talking about like the working out part, even if that's just walking, just doing like a 30-minute walk or whatever the case may be on most evenings, something else to keep them to think about is maybe seeing if like practicing like mindfulness or meditation will work for you. Now, I know that for these tips, because I'm just pretty much going, and then just kind of seeing hopefully that there's a handful of tips in here that will work well for you, because I do understand that not every one of these tips is going to work well for everybody. But I am giving you some things that I think you should really consider. So, and I bring this up by saying that I know that mindfulness, meditation, yoga, you can kind of sort of lump all of them together, or at least in my head, I do anyway. And while this works great for a ton of people, I know for me meditating, yoga, whatever, does not do a whole lot for me, and that's okay. But if you haven't tried it, it might actually end up doing wonders for you in terms of being able, as a way to maybe like de-stress on days off or even after work or something like that. Depending on what's going on, consider talking to a therapist. To me, therapy is a wonderful thing. I think that there's a lot of good that comes with therapy, and it is honestly something that not enough people actually utilize. And so the main issue, the thing with the main issue I think that therapy kind of starts solving is a situation of when things are going really wrong and you're searching for other people to talk to. And so this could be like, friends, family members, significant other or whatever. And, I know that burdens can be really heavy, and people react and respond to things differently. And so you might just want to just unload on people, just like your frustrations or your pain and whatnot. But the thing that happens is, over time, this can be very wearing on relationships. Even from people with the most best intentions, it just becomes really heavy. And so the nice thing about therapy is that it's from a neutral third party, and then you don't have to concern of just burdening that weight that you have, whatever the situation might be, whether it's work related or it's a combination of work, family, whatever, on close friends, family members. I think you can definitely start with primary care if you're looking for therapy. Sometimes insurance will cover it. You can also check out nursemoneytalk.com/online therapy. You'll see that in on the screen and in the descriptions below, and that might be a good route to be able to find a therapist that you can talk to online, and that can actually make it easier in terms of scheduling, as opposed to trying to go to somebody's office. Next thing is to working on your sleep. I think this goes without saying, but it's the benefits of just getting a good night's sleep is I mean, it's out there, but it's one that so many people don't take seriously enough. And it almost feels like that there's then becomes kind of like this pride when people will say, like, oh, I don't need X, like I'm only getting X number of sleep or whatever. No, no, no. Like, if you need 7, 8 hours of sleep, then you need to try to get 7, 8 hours of sleep. And the ways to handle this would really involve like probably like some better sleep, what they call sleep hygiene, I think is the term. So just like see what works for you. So for instance, like I know I'm an early riser, so really I should be going to bed on like earlier. Avoiding, I know like for me, I really should avoid like staring at my phone like late at night where I'm like laying in bed, because you already see those studies about that bright phone light like hitting your eyes, and that can actually, keep you from falling asleep. So just kind of like things like that. Something else to actually think about, and that's like getting a hobby. Now, this is something that can vary for so many people. And so the ideal purpose of a hobby is as a way to just kind of de-stress, hopefully to be able to let go of like the weight of the work of work and everything else. And so there's a lot of options there. There's sports. For those who are gamers, there's video gaming. There's also model trains, collecting, reading. It's not a hobby-ish, but I would definitely throw reading in there as well. There's also people who found kind of like stress relief in doing things like maybe like sewing, crochet, even like where you take up like an outside like activity. So maybe you teach yourself how to play the instrument or something like that, or learn a new language, something where like you kind of it ends up being more like a release from everything that you're having to do or think about when it comes to work. The next thing is to think about taking breaks. And what I mean from that is actually use your breaks. This would include scheduled breaks, and this would also include sick leave. Now, I do understand that you do have employees and coworkers that'll try to make you feel guilty for either taking your breaks off or, if you call in sick for one reason or the other. And, here's the deal. At the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself. That is just fact. And, if something goes wrong, if your health deteriorates from you not taking care of yourself, your coworkers and your employers are not going to be there for you when it comes to that. That is also just fact. And so what you need to do is you need to prioritize your self-care and schedule leave. Like, this doesn't even mean like you have to go on vacation or actually leave leave the country, your state you're in. Shoot, you don't even have to leave your home. Just take the leave and be able to go, and be able to be away from work and just chill out. The other thing is looking at your sick leave, knowing what your policy is and whatnot. If you have to take like a mental health day, then by all means do that. Like, there have been so many nurses that I have worked with where it is clear that they should have taken a mental health day instead of rolling into work, because then that puts potentially the patient's health at risk and your license at risk as well from poor nursing care, just related to just fatigue, just whether it's just not mentally being there for whatever reason. And it's always interesting to me while I'm at this is like I will work with older nurses, or even this isn't something that's unique specifically to nursing. It's pretty much like unique to probably anybody who collects like sick leave, where like it's almost like there's a pride that comes in when they say, oh, like I have like 1,000,000 hours of leave by the time I retire. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, like you're not Superman or Superwoman. At some point, you probably should have used those sick leaves. And so I don't understand. I don't get that this overpride of stocking hours, especially if like your employer was not is not going to pay those hours to you, or if you end up leaving your job either for whatever reason or the other, either you get fired or um, or you quit, then they, depending on the policy, they don't typically give that back to you. Even in situations where I've seen them give it back to people in terms of like paying it out, it's usually not 100%. So I think that's definitely something to think about as well. Next one is not skipping breakfast or lunch. I know not everybody is, a breakfast person or whatever, but even just making sure that you have a healthy snack, that you have something to kind of keep that energy up as well. I know in nursing that there is a temptation, or they, not temptation, what's the word, like you're essentially the your employers don't help you in terms of making sure that you get lunch, and that's something that I know, depending on what unit of floor you work on, that's not, that might never change. But I'll just kind of do what you can to make sure that you do get lunch, because I think you just work a lot more productive. When you do get a chance to take a break in the middle of your shift. If you do end up not taking lunch, make sure that you are actually getting paid, because I've worked with a lot of nurses who they will skip lunch, but then their employer ends up still taking the 30 minutes or whatever from them. Now, like, guys, don't work for free. That's that's just what it is. Don't work for free. Next one is to learn how to delegate. So there's so many nurses that I have worked with over the years who, for whatever reason, they will not delegate, and they will not ask for help, and then they end up getting frustrated, or that leads to burnout later. Listen, you are not good at everything. You're just not. If you think that you are, you really need a reality check, because you're not. You might be good at certain things, but you're not good at everything. Even if you are, you can't do everything. You need to ask for help. You know, maybe have somebody help you turn the patient. Don't get hurt trying to do that or whatever. If you are drowning, if you are a new nurse and you're drowning, reach out for help. If you have a mentor, or even like your nurse manager, like, reach out for help. Guys, ask for help. Know what you can or cannot delegate. I do have an article that kind of goes over what nurses can and can't delegate, especially to like unlicensed personnel, so like your techs and whatnot. So I'll put that in the descriptions below. Definitely check that out. But learn to delegate, guys. It'll make your life a lot easier. The next one is to slow down on the extra shifts. Some of y'all will work like crazy, and that is a recipe for getting burned out. I had a video, and I'll put it up there, where I talked about the crazy shifts, number of shifts that I've worked in a row, and how I said, guys, I said it. I didn't think it was smart then. I also said I was dumb, and I would probably do it again if they would let me. And it's not. And it's not a good thing. It's a good way to get burned out, because even if you're trying to get that money, at some point there is a breaking point, and the money just isn't worth it. Like, it's one thing if you have like short-term goals or whatever, and you're trying to get to it quickly over a short period of time, not that big of a deal. But like 12 months, 24 months, working 50, 60 plus hours a week, guys, that's going to get old really quickly. And this kind of gets me to something else, which is like, if you are needing the money, right? then consider getting a part-time job that is either not nursing related it's um it's nursing related, but it's not related to the field, specifically that of nursing that you're in. So, for example, let's say you work the I don't know ICU, ER, med surg, whatever. You're a floor unit nurse. So for an extra shift, maybe you decide that, or for an extra part-time job, I should say, maybe you decide, well, let me go work as a clinical nurse adjunct for, the local nursing program. And so that then allows you to earn extra money. I get it. It's not going to be as much as how much you would make working the floor and especially hitting that overtime. But it is a good way to then, kind of pad your resume, get skill sets, or experience in doing other things while at the same time kind of reducing your risk of burnout. So just kind of some things to think about. I know so many people can get very creative when it comes to like part-time jobs on it. Like I'm not saying go, work at Home Depot or Lowe's or Bass Pro Shops or whatever, but it is one that I have seen people who make good money but decide that, well, I need extra money or just kind of get me out of the house, do something else, but I don't want to work more of the job that I'm doing, or they can't work more of the job that they're doing. So they decide, well, I'm into tools, whatever, so I'm going to go get like a small little part-time job, at a Home Depot, at a Lowe's, or maybe if I'm into fishing, I'll go to like a specialty fishing shop or whatever the case may be. Some of y'all going to be looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, I've seen and I've talked to people who do end up taking shops at these specialty places because, they earn a little bit of money while they're not doing their regular full-time job, and they're actually in and around things that they actually like as a hobby. The next and final one, guys, is that you need to learn how to let things go. And this is going to cover a lot of things. You need to understand healthcare is a business. There's no altruism there. It is a business. The company you work for cares about profits. And so you yourself, you need to care about your well-being. To be clear, I'm not saying don't do a good job, because some people will hear this and be like, oh, like he's saying don't do a good job. No, obviously do a good job. Be in the business of providing exceptional care. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you cannot provide exceptional care. You're just not going to be able to. You have to take care of yourself so that then you can take care of your patients and be able to take care of your loved ones. That is, that's just how it works. So with that said, look and see what your options are. If your unit is incredibly stressful and it looks like you're going to have a burnout eventually, go get another job. I mean, go to nursemoneytalk.com/jobs, check out, our job board, find another job, see what's out there. I promise you, it's nursing. There's a lot of other jobs that are actually out there. If your unit is not good, then go transfer to another unit, transfer to another area in that particular hospital for whatever reason you want to stay in that hospital. Consider going to a different nursing specialty. There's a lot of options at your disposal, but either way, you need to do something. You need to be proactive in terms of being in the business of taking care of yourself. And that's not a selfish thing. That's just a fact of reality. When you are taking care of your mental, physical, and spiritual health is taken care of, then you will be in a better position to be able to take care of your loved ones and be able to take care of your patients well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you very soon in that next one.